You grew your YouTube channel, Mitch Manly, from 0 to 400,000 subscribers on a channel that is specified for or meant for personal development within 30 videos. And today it's like almost 1 million.
Yeah.
I mean, first of all, like before we get into it, like that's insane. Like people like you hear these numbers, but it's like it's an insane statistic. But what makes me curious is like, why do you think you had such an incredible growth with your channel initially?
Yeah. Well, yeah, back in 2019, I think it was one of the fastest growing self-help brands in the world, starting from 0. And in terms of the fast growth, like, I mean, it's funny. At that time, like Jake Paul and Logan Paul were like super popular. And the whole vibe on YouTube was like, hey, you have to post every single day. I think Jake Paul famously said, like, if you're not posting every day, you're not even really doing YouTube. And I was posting 2 videos a month, right? But I kind of like just thought critically. I also started to read Google reports. And in my head, I'm like, okay, if every single person who subs to me watches every single video, okay, like YouTube is going to show that to people. Like the quantity doesn't really matter, I think, as much as people think it is. I thought about it more critically and logically. So I'm like, so basically for that time period, the only goal was to get more followers. That's it, right? So every single video that I posted, every single follower liked. And when that happens, ironically, it gets shown to more new people. So it was content that satisfied my core audience and attracted a new audience. And I just kept making kind of like the same kind of video for 30 videos, which is not that much. And that led to 400,000 followers. And that's one of the coolest things about YouTube and social media in general, but especially YouTube, because that first video that I posted is still getting views. Since we've started this podcast, people have clicked and watched that video. It's crazy, So yeah, I picked a very specific niche and I made sure I made the videos for them, not really so much for me. And that's the really quick version of it.
Because I mean, it's like a specific demographic. You say like, like men's
Yeah.
personal development. Like what led you like to pick that type of audience?
Yeah, that's another good question. So, well, do you know who Elliot Hulse is by chance? Okay. So Elliot Hulse was like this old school fitness guy, but he also just would like, he's jacked, super strong, deadlifting like 600 pounds. But he would also just talk about like philosophy as he's deadlifting 600 pounds. It's kind of unique. I mean, not the typical meathead. And he's smart. He speaks really well. He's very articulate. And I'm like, this is interesting. And I like that dude. And, I always consume that kind of content. And I found this weird space on YouTube. It was like self-help animation. Because there's a lot of talking head videos about self-help, which is cool, right? But there weren't many like animated channels like that. And I noticed that there was a couple channels in particular that I just frankly didn't feel were that good, but they still had like 200,000 followers, 300,000 followers, and the content was super basic. And I'm like, okay, I know I can make a better video when it comes to value than this person. Or maybe he does know more, but he's just not sharing all of it or something. Like I can give a little bit more. So I'm like, okay, I'm going to just do that. And I'm going to try to find a really good animator because the animation channels, the animations were okay. So the content was okay and the animations were okay. So I'm like, hey, I'm going to try my best to be good and find a good animator. So, because like if this okay channel can have like 250,000 followers, if I make everything better, well, logically I should be better, So that's kind of what it was. I just saw this weird niche and I'm like, I'm just going to start. And I loved YouTube. Like I was obsessed with YouTube too. So that was like the foundation of the whole thing. Yeah.
But to see such kind of like growth in such a short time, you obviously have to hit like either give very good value, hit a nerve, like something that resonates deeply with that.
Yeah.
Like how did you like within such a short amount of videos, because like, I mean, creators do like hundreds of videos and get nowhere close to that, obviously. But how did you find like that voice to speak to them? Like, was it like your own experiences, research?
Yes and no. Now, I think this is the part where your listeners will actually probably resonate with. So obviously I love YouTube, very in alignment, but like, the thing that I became obsessed with was the KPIs that mattered. Okay. Like the key performance indicators. So it's like, cause in YouTube analytics, there's a lot of analytics. It's not like you go there and there's like 3 things they share with you. Like it's actually overwhelming. I think they should try to make it more user friendly. So I had a lot of coaches for YouTube and they told me some of the metrics that mattered the most. And it was funny. I had a friend at that time. I never told you any of this. I had a friend who had a total of 50 million followers across all of his different YouTube channels. You would never have guessed it. He lived in San Francisco. I met him on Discord. Can you believe that? I DM'd him on Discord, dude. And he's like, oh, I like your videos. They seem cool. And he told me about a metric that's not even in the studio. Isn't that, he's like, one of the most important metrics is this, and you won't even find it in the studio. And it was called session watch time. Okay. Basically, if someone goes on to YouTube, okay, and they click your video and then they stay on YouTube, you get accredited with their session, but at least not now, well, at that time, but it's not in the analytics. So I'm like, okay, what are the top 5 analytics? This is the birth of my 80-20 mindset. I'm like, okay, what matters the most? Because I can't optimize 200 analytics here. So I was like, okay, click-through rate, average view duration. Even Mr. Beast publicly said, oh, AVD, it's what he calls AVD, is like basically the only thing that matters. It's not totally true. The click-through rate matters too. But it's like the metrics that matter the most. Every single video, I would just always look at the metrics. And I'm like, okay, so if my click-through rate is like 5 or 6%, that's pretty good. Like, I know that's pretty good. So what's like the lagging indicator? Okay. Make sense? It's like, okay, so the AVD is kind of like not ideal for this one. So every single video, I just kept trying to optimize the most important indicators. And you can probably, because you kind of know how I think a little bit, right? So you can see how it all kind of comes back to this first thing that I did. And it sounds really simple, but Mr. Beast publicly also says, make every video better than the last, but I wish he would add on in the eyes of YouTube. Because I could think a video is amazing, but if the click-through rate is low, well, YouTube think it sucks, which is kind of what matters, So that's kind of the quick version. Yeah.
So like you focus on all these metrics, KPIs,
Yeah,
that matter the most, which I think like we all should do in general.
That's why I think your audience would like that, because that's kind of
like I'm happy like a lot of like KPIs when it also like comes to life we could talk about. But I'm curious, like when we stay still on the content, like what was responsible for that growth?
Sure.
Because like I said, you need to like be able to like kind of speak to them. Like they have maybe, like they identify with a certain pain point, they identify with a certain outcome in life.
Yep.
Some like your content idea, so to say, because you can just like pull it out of thin air.
I can share with you the secret that I did. When it comes to uncovering these like insanely effective things, it depends on the niche and it depends on what's currently going on within that niche. Okay. So self-help animation is like kind of a weird just statement to make, right? So in self-help animation, the thing that was falling behind was it was kind of boring, but even the boring videos still got a lot of views. So it would be like, how to wake up early. Hey guys, this is how to wake up early. The animations made it cool, right? Or like how to be self-disciplined. Well, discipline is is just like an emotion. You can't rely, or like motivation. How to not rely on motivation, right? So, and those videos would get like hundreds of thousands of views. I'm like, well, how do I make this more interesting? So, like I said before, average view duration was super important. Okay. So I'm like, okay, if I get this metric higher, YouTube will promote my video. So instead of saying like, here's a secret to self-discipline, I would say simple trick to make you super motivated or something, kind of a simple trick to make you super motivated. That's a good title, right? And what I would do is I'd have a good hook. The simple trick. I didn't just say what it was right away, but the big secret that I did was I would tell this really in-depth story. That was I don't know if you've seen any of the videos, like it was very emotional. I'd be like, there's a kid who was born, his mom died, now he's to take care of his sister. He's in Brazil, he's getting robbed. It's like, oh my God, this is pretty intense, right? And instead of just saying something like, you need a strong why, I could just say that. But it's like, I'm showing you this guy's him and his sister are going to die if he doesn't figure this out. It just makes it more engaging. And I also read books on how to tell stories. But the reason why I did that was because it radically increased the average view duration. Because it's kind of hard to leave a good movie or a good story. So I studied I read books on screenwriting, how to write a Hollywood screenplay. It kind of ruined a lot of movies for me. Like I got really good at this one narrative called like the hero's journey story. I'm like, okay. And I just focused on this one kind of story. And it was just very difficult to leave. And it was interesting. One of my old friends, he was making like $1.5 million a month. Like most of that was profit apparently too. And even he would send me screenshots. I was like, dude, your videos are getting recommended to me. So even really successful people were being exposed to this as well. Because a really good story is something that almost no human can turn away from. It's hard. It's like, I got to figure out, well, does he die? But let me just watch the rest of this video. Let me just see what happens. As opposed to like just saying, well, self-discipline is this, which is cool, right? But yeah. So the secret to summarize was I did a thing that optimized AVD, and I did it through telling a really long story. And no one in the self-help space and the self-help animation space was telling these very emotional, interesting stories. I was the first one to ever do it. Then people started copying me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because the crazy thing is, like, I wanted to mention that in the beginning, is like there's a high chance that anyone who's watching this here right now will have come across on one of your videos at some point. There's a high chance.
If they're like a guy, yeah, like a lot of younger guys who join my consulting offer, a lot of them are like, "Oh, dude, I've seen your videos." When I'm my most recent client was like, "Dude, I watched every single one of your videos."
Right.
Yeah, it's interesting.
You tell me if that's right. That's a little bit like a theory that I kind of like made in my head right now with information that you gave me. Because when we met the first time, remember, like, for years ago in Julian's house, super unexpected. I didn't know who you were because we just like kind of like
I didn't know who you were. You were gonna be there. Like,
yeah,
me neither.
me neither. He was like, "Oh yeah, come over to my house. Let's hang out." And then you were there. I'm like, "Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Cool, very nice to meet you."
Yeah.
But one other thing that, like, every interaction that we had ever since, and that was from the first day onwards, was there was always something that is very difficult for me to describe. Like you're painting the picture or making things very direct, very logical, and you're able to make people realize with your words the actual state.
Right.
And maybe sometimes like the things that they're denying subconsciously or that they're kind of like avoiding, with like knowing that, or what I have experienced you so far, and knowing like what kind of people you target, maybe that was, you tell me, like part of like
I've never fully unpacked this publicly before. And you're not the first person to comment on this. And I've just never really like, I'll just tell you the whole story. First ever podcast I've done is this one. So there's actually a bit of I'm saving it for you, I guess you could say. So basically, I guess like even when I was younger, yeah, you could say I'm direct. Like I just kind of see things, obviously not perfectly. We all have our own biases and stuff like that. But I'd say like a little bit closer than, like, even in school, man, even in business school, I'm like, why are we, what even is statistics? Why am I trying to figure out the probability of a certain card getting drawn? I'm like, what are we doing? Like, what does this have to do with business? So I'm just saying, I would say there's a bit of a natural inclining, let's say, like, okay, this is a little bit weird. But when I started making the YouTube videos, I started to see, actually even dating, honestly, man, like seeing what people respond to, like a girl, like what does actually get her to respond to this thing? But there's something about the YouTube videos where I'm like, okay, this absolutely insane thumbnail where there's a guy who's almost like anorexic and a guy who's obnoxiously jacked, has everything. It's like, okay, people, I'm seeing in real time by looking at the click-through rate. This is double, triple. I'm like, oh my God, it's a lot. And it was almost like I couldn't believe how people responded so much to extremes. And the thing I learned was like, the more visual I am in these videos, when I make a hook, the more like it's something for storytelling is, the reason why there's so many movies about like, so like, you know, it's going to be the end of the world, zombie apocalypse, because people just respond to that level of extreme stuff. So I just saw in real time by looking at numbers that people respond really well to extreme direct things. Like, it's marketing is not a place to be subtle. YouTube is not a place to be subtle. It's not even really a place for nuance a lot of the time, except for a podcast like this, you can, but you know, usually no, it's like super loud, obnoxious, you know, so I guess it's like, that was the first time I saw like, okay, I'm rewarded for being absurdly direct, absurdly extreme, to the point where I have probably one of the fastest growing brands in the world. It's a pretty like strong reward for doing that. You know what I mean? So, and then when I even started doing brand deals, so not brand deals, like affiliate deals, I said like I made like grand off of one video, you know, and I was like, it was this really intense story. And I framed Skillshare, which is the brand I did it for, as like the hero of the story. It's like this, like like Skillshare in that video, like this represents like power, like taking power over your own life. I'm framing it as Skillshare. So I'm like, you can take control of your own power, but it was quite extreme, the whole thing, right? But again, it's like, not only am I rewarded with views, also with money now. So it's like, okay, I'm like, it's like I kept seeing how much I got rewarded for it. And yeah, and then even for the consulting stuff too, right? But it's like I came from this very like, hey, loud, clear, like, you know, get all the girls, get all the money, all the cars, like boom, jets. Like the more big, the better, you know? I don't know how else to say it. Like, this is just the story. And then the same thing when I came into the consulting world, it's like for fitness. Remember one time I said to you, it's like, I remember like one of my first fitness clients. I'm just like, well, yeah, like you should like. I listened to a call. I'm like, dude, you're not really like. I don't think you're saying all these things. Like, does your niche like? Do these men have a partner? Like, yeah. I'm like, well, have you said like, have you ever thought about maybe that your partner is seeing other men and wishing you were like that? Do you think maybe she's imagining being with them in an intimate way? And I know I just noticed that no one's saying that. It's almost like you're not allowed to say that. But I'm like, well, that's what do you mean? That's why would you not like? I don't know. My brain only sort of works in that way, and it sounds manipulative. But a lot of people would be like, "He's manipulating me." No, I'm just sharing a thought that you probably have subconsciously had. But I don't have manipulative energy. I'm like, well, have you thought about that? Same with money. It's like, well, dude, like you've been struggling with this for like years, Matt. Like, have you thought about how this affects your self image? Have you thought about like even the partner? It's like, well, man, like if you're not like, it's just I just say things that are uncomfortable. You know,
The uncomfortable things that we sometimes need to hear, right?
yeah, but I did, yes. But I noticed that I think the key thing with this though is it's like on a sales call or whatever or a video, I'm not saying it trying to like bother the person. It's more like, well, man, like, have you thought about this? Like it's just, and I just pause. It's like, ooh, okay. And it's like, well, yeah. And it's like, so I think like that, I'm trying to, because it's an interesting question, but I think all these little things factor in. And same with dating, man. Seeing what like girls respond to, for example, you know, it's like, okay, interesting. It's just, it's always been very in my face and loud with all these things. And I lived everything in real time as well. So that's my quick answer, which is not quick. Yeah.
Relative quick.
Yeah.
Because it might turn also into the thing like with your background that you've had before, maybe also and at the same time your way of thinking, personality, like you want to have the most effective thing straight away. And that's like what I also like realized because when we ever talked about like whatever in life, if it's private, if it's business, if it's fitness, like the conversation was always steered automatically to the thing, okay, what is going to give me the quickest ROI?
Yeah.
And like cut out the busy work or whatever.
It's also because when I was making the YouTube videos, I wasn't in a really great place in my life in general. Like I didn't have much money in the beginning. So it was almost like, hey, if I don't, because for animated videos, it's expensive. It's not cheap to pay like, you know, some animator and a thumbnail guy. It's all animated. So it was almost like, hey, if I don't get an ROI, I can't pay rent. So, you know, it's like I was in it. And also I think emotionally, I wasn't, let's just say a 10 out of 10 at that. This is a long time ago, way before I met you. And it was just like, okay, well, I have to, or I'm fucked. We'll bleep that out, I guess. But it's like, well, I don't know how else to say it. Like, I don't have a choice.
So I swear,
no one's coming to save me here. You know what I mean? So it's like, well, so it was almost like I didn't have a choice but to think. I didn't have another option. I didn't have the luxury of like, what, like this has to be the most optimal way. It has to be. There is no other option, you know? So yeah, it was like, it's pretty ingrained because for me, like being optimal, I associate with survival. So it's kind of hard just to like forget that, which is good, I guess, you know? So.
And I mean, I can like that type of approach, like obviously also translates in other areas, for example, with your consultancy business, because, you know, like there are different business models, there are different opportunities and everything, but I'm still like sometimes like sometimes really fascinated by the amount of revenue you're generating, which is mostly profit with like pretty much just yourself.
Nothing.
Yeah, just yourself. Like people at that stage are making that amount of money. Feel free if you want to share the numbers then, but they have, you know, like a team.
Full team.
Right? And you're pretty much like, and don't even maybe do that much of
I have no team.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, dude, for the first 4 years, I literally had no team. It's not exact. I never even had a VA. I got a VA in year 4 because I'm like, well, there's no point in me doing this admin task, basically. You know, she only worked for an hour a day, literally. That's what. I'm not kidding. Like, I think some people think I'm not kidding.
How much have you generated up to that point?
Before the VA?
Yeah, already.
Well, yeah, like probably over 1.5 million in profit. Yeah, but it's funny. You know what's funny? Obviously I get the numbers, but it's more about how much I was working. Because it's like I was probably one of the best, an unforgettable month in the business. I made $70,000 in profit a month, and I was in Poland. And like to this day, I don't even know. I'm like, how is this even possible? I'm like walking around, just like, you know, like exploring. I wasn't working that hard, but I mean, yeah. I guess to answer my own question, it's like, well, it was almost like an accident in a weird way. Me learning what the most optimal things are. I've told you this, the skeletal framework, like, hey, the offer and the content. And I came from a content background doing YouTube for like, 4 or 5 years. And also when it came to the importance of the offer, I also kind of learned that with YouTube as well, because it's like, okay, well, like, it's like, okay, it's almost like the offer is like kind of like a video in a weird way. It's like, okay, well, this has to be good. I have to use the right words. I also noticed that like if I use the word simple trick versus trick, radically changes the click through rate. I'm like, Jesus, this is wild. So it was years of just this getting punt and like, dude, I made some videos. Imagine spending 150 hours on a video and then no one clicks. How an all the time to me. You just like it, not just once. It took me like 7 videos to learn that lesson. And you get to the point you're 1,000 hours in, like I can't, I don't have a choice. And I also learned Mr. Beast said another thing that he said, always make the title before you make the video. Mm-hmm. Same with the hook. Title hook comes first. It's like, okay. And I didn't even do that at first, which is dumb. Even my YouTube mentors told me that because I just wanted to share. I wanted to create, but it's like, no, that's kind of in a way, it's not a perfect analogy, but it's kind of like the offer. So it's like, it's undeniable to me how important these things are, So yeah, I just got really good at those 2 things. And I also didn't like managing people even in general. I just didn't enjoy it. It's funny, Julian, I had a 40% closing rate, which is pretty good. Julian's at one point, I don't know what it is now. It was like 80. It was really high. And, cause I made 25 grand in the first 5 weeks, starting from zero on zero. And it was at 40%. And then everyone's like, oh, you should get like a setter and a VA. Then I'm like, maybe, I don't know. I was like, I don't even know, And then, but with Julian, I'm like, wait, it's 80. I'm like, mine's 40. Well, if I doubled it, I can double my money and I'm not working anymore. I don't have to pay anyone. And then by month 4, I had a $40,000 cash flow a month. No T. Because I like, yeah, whatever the math is, I increased the closing rate a lot because that's optimal. Why would I do anything else? Mm-hmm. How can anything else be more optimal than that? But it's also connected to some people thinking, not knowing what's possible. A lot of people like it's impossible to have an 80 now.
I think that principle like pours over into a lot of areas where it's like, like where people obviously like do these optimizations or like sometimes not like even that obvious.
Yeah.
But the principle is like something that serves you in every single area. I mean, like probably like how we can sum it up is like focus on the 20% that give you 80% of the results.
Yeah. Or even like the 10% gives you 90, 90, 10.
Even more. Yeah. Like depending on the niche, but it's like also like obviously like what I see a lot of like, general managers, executives, founders, obviously in the fitness area or in the health fitness, they do all the things that like the busy work, we would call that in business terms, right? The busy work, the things that make you, like doing business cards and, like with designing logos, like the thing that really don't really do
logos. God.
And they do the same with their fitness. So they're like, just like to try cut out carbs, run every day, and not the things that actually move the needle.
I've said something funny. I've said very publicly that I think I'd be really bad to have on a podcast. I've said that. I don't know if you know I've said that publicly because I'm just kind of like, well, I just don't really know what I'm going to say because it's like, I believe if you know something, let's say someone knows they want to like look a certain way within their body. Like they want to take off their shirt and not be able to see the little, or they have just pants on and they don't want to see the little fat go over the, whatever the strap or whatever.
Hanging it like in belly, hang over the belt notch.
Yeah, just like a whoop.
Yeah.
One of those, So they know that. And that's a key thing with marketing too, being very, like, it's just like, that's automatic. I'm like, lose weight. I'm like, well, that. Like most people don't even talk like that. It's just funny to me. Just this, this thing where you can kind of squeeze it a little bit, like just boop, 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 boop. Like that's good marketing, right? Because everyone knows exactly what I'm talking about. They can feel it, Anyways, but what was I going to say? Yeah, I would say like, but everyone knows the optimal thing. It's always going to be to hire an expert and then follow the plan and do it. So it's almost like, in a weird way, I think podcasts are like, I don't know, like what's even the point? Like you all know what to do. Everyone knows what to do. Like, what are we even talking about here? Let's talk about the things that, do you know what I mean? It's just like, I'm doing it now. I don't know. Like, it's almost like I can watch a podcast for like entertainment or something, but for like, why are you watching a podcast? To get a thing that's a main priority in your life. You already know what to do. The question should be, why are you not doing the thing that you know is optimal when you say it's the most important thing?
That's a good question to ask, coming from somebody that lives like that already.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Because sometimes I think we also think that the way we think everybody else should think, but it's sometimes surprising when you talk to people who were like quite successful in like some area of life,
true.
and then you're like, why would you do that? Like you're educated, academic, but like kind of a common sense is a little bit missing out. That's why I kind of like exactly why I think like podcasts like that can be sometimes like valuable in terms of like uncovering blind spots. Coming back to the thing that you said earlier, you know, like with the weight loss example and the thing hanging over your belt, one of the quotes that I probably will carry on with me into my graveyard is, or one thing that you said essentially was like, great marketing is like a glass of water.
Oh yeah, one of my favorite lines.
Dude.
Shout out to Evan Pagan. Evan Pagan can't take credit for it. Gotta give credit's due. It's the best. Yeah, because if you say, just to unpack this, I'm gonna get passionate about this. It's like when you say a glass of water, there's no moment of reflection or thinking. You just see it. Glass of water. Okay, that's good marketing. Glass of water. You don't have to be like, well, what does that look like? It's like, and it's like, and that's the thing. Like, you want to remove. I say this in the marketing thing. You want to like remove these barriers towards whatever thing you're showing. The more barriers, the worse, right? And to unpack this even more, it's like if I say to lose weight, well, what does that mean? Like it's kind of like there's not even, that's even worse because like, well, we're not even talking about a thing. It's like ephemeral. It's like what are we even doing here? So just be like clear. It's why you see marketers be like, imagine you're driving in a McLaren. Imagine you're walking at the beach, you take your shirt off, your wife looks at you like, whoa. And the other girls are like, who is this guy? It's kind of like, again, like that's like a glass of water. We all can kind of like, yeah, okay, I can, like you can imagine it, then feel what it feels like. But in terms of that original visualization, you can do it. Yeah. It's really simple by just, yeah.
It is like when you hear the quote for the first time, it is so simple that if you don't have the explanation for it, people would be like, what are you talking about?
I'll share with you another funny one. So in the context when I first heard this, something that I did was I would watch some of the best marketing coaches coach. So imagine like you're coaching someone and I'm watching you coach the person and make me better at marketing myself, but also a better coach, And it was so funny, bro. Eben was like, he was critiquing someone who had like an offer around like, I think it was something either like a parenting offer or like a partner offer with like your spouse or whatever. And the person was like, how to have a fulfilling relationship with your partner. Okay. And Eben's like, Eben's like, tell me about some of the problems. Like, oh, well, let's say you're arguing and like they're talking over you. He's like, okay, how about this for a title? How to get your partner to shut up and listen to you. Oh my God.
Dream. No, but it's very clear.
Yeah.
It's very clear.
Yeah. Yeah. It's just like, I don't know why I love this stuff so much. It's just like, but it's not even necessarily about how you want the person to do that. It's more like there's no barriers. You're like, oh yeah. Cause you immediately think back to a moment when you want to share something and your partner is whatever, talking over you or whatever, but that's going to be way better, or like another one could be like, he had another one where like, there's another person it was a parenting offer and it was like how to get your kid to like, blah, 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 blah. It's like how to get your kid to stop yelling and eat his food at the dinner table.
Every parent probably could relate to
this. And you don't even have to think about it. Like, oh yeah, that one time we're at that Mexican restaurant and like, it's like, that's good marketing. You're already, if it's like a video, you're already in the video without even you knowing you're in it. Like, I'm in. And then you like, I always say good marketing is almost like stealth. It's like, it's like good marketing. You just find yourself watching a video and like, you're just kind of sitting there. Yeah. And it's like, but it takes you into a memory or a feeling and it kind of removes you from you. It's like we talk about pattern interrupts. It interrupts what you're doing. That's the ultimate one, and the best way to do that is through like a feeling, a memory. Something like that.
A very clear picture.
Yeah.
Like the pink elephant.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. But yes, that's a different, but like what I'm saying is though, it's like, it takes you into a feeling. Like I always say, bring sensations into your marketing as well. And the way to do that is by saying, imagine you take your shit off at the beach and your wife looks at you like she wants to take you to the bathroom and do a bunch of fun stuff with you. A lot of guys probably can't relate to that because they don't look like that,
It's That's maybe something that I need to include more.
Well, I mean, I don't know. It depends on obviously it depends on who you're trying to target, but it's just like, well, let's be real. Like that's a thing. Let's not pretend that doesn't have an impact, so what to say?
It's yeah, it's so fascinating. Like literally like painting the pictures. Like
Yeah.
it's do you think it's the storytelling part and people can like really because they want to listen to a story, so to say?
Yeah. Yeah.
Or the actual like I'm living this right now. Like it's like
That's a great question. It's actually quite a deep question. The thing is, really the question is, there's a few things that stories can do. I mean, people will say stories are what connects people, right? Which is kind of a like, sure, whatever. What does that really mean? But it's but I kind of get it. Like it's more like the thing about a good story is it creates like a loop. It's like it kind of like it's almost like human beings like to close loops. We don't like to keep things open a lot of the time. So if I say something like, this is Bob. Bob's mom died. He has to take care of his sister. Like the hero's journey story basically is like, so within the first 2 minutes, there has to be a very clear plot. That's why the movies with really high box office views are like within the first 5 minutes, like there's been a zombie apocalypse and like everything is screwed. And like the hero has to save the world or everything is completely destroyed. You're like, why? What's going to happen here? And basically, when I read about storytelling, the first 10 to 15, you have like 10 minutes. And a video, you have a 1 minute, right? Because that creates the loop. It's like you already know the whole plot. It's simple. So, but I'm going to answer your question in a sec. It's just I'm giving context. Like, so one, it creates an open loop. But then, yeah, like, I mean, there's a lot. I don't want to go on some long rant here because there's like literally, bro, there's courses, there's teachers, there's so many books on this, right? But a good story can make you obviously emotional. We all can relate to that. There's lots of people, like even my girlfriend, like she was like crying watching some of my videos. I have people like this, it brings them to tears, right? And it's not because I'm some good storyteller, really. I don't know. It's more just like I just know the framework. It's like anything, but it's like, and if you can create the open loop and you identify with the character, then it's like you're really honest. Okay, you're onto something. Well, my most popular video has like 10 million views. Like you have a video that has 10 million views. You know what I mean? Like, dude, that video has 700 million impressions.
that's wild.
That's like almost 1/7 of the population. It's insane.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, the whole channel, I don't even know, billions, maybe 3 billion impressions, like getting shown to people. So, but yeah, but that's really like, if you can do that, then it's amazing what you can do. And that's why a lot of like really big marketers or whatever, they hire storytelling coaches for the rags to riches story or whatever. Like there's an art to that, And the other thing I'll say too, it's almost like once you know the framework, you can't unsee the framework. Like when I watch a movie that I know is the hero's journey, I'm like, oh, the mentor is going to come in soon and the mentor will give the protagonist a challenge. And, the hero, the protagonist will like try the challenge, fail, and then to the point of no return, something will happen. Like I literally know what's going to happen. It's just fun. But if you don't know that, you just don't know. Yeah.
You said something very interesting that stuck with me right now that we can like maybe dig a little into because it was a very good kind of a question. What does that even mean?
Oh yeah, it's my favorite question.
What does that even mean? Because I was just like, when you were saying it, I was like, oh, this is like for somebody that wants to improve in a specific area of their life.
Yeah, what does that
and
mean?
They're doing something for it, and it's too vague. If they cannot answer this question, it's probably not going to lead them to the goal that they want.
Yeah. Well, that's one of my favorite questions. My other one is like my actual true favorite one is, what are we doing here? What are we doing here? Okay, so you want to lose weight. You've done basically nothing. You've tried randomly coming out carbs. You also went keto. You couldn't even tell me what that actually does to your body. Be like, what are we doing? That's one of my favorite ones. And it kind of just opens the room up. You're like, yeah, what am I doing here? Like, okay, well, but the question is like, what does that mean? It's just like, you can apply it to anything. It's like, if I'm on a sales call, I have to think about it. What does that mean? Well, it means I have to think about it. Yeah. What does that mean? What's that process like? Most people will say, what is there to think about? Like, what does that even mean? Like you're like, because like the other thing too, my brain's going to explode here. It's like, people do this thing where they project their meaning onto other people's words, right? Or another way of saying it is people have different relationships with different words. And as a Canadian, we say sorry for everything. You could knock that thing over. I'm like, oh, I'm sorry that happened to you. I'm sorry. Like, dude, we're in Colombia, I've noticed that people say sorry when they've made like a bad mistake. And I'm not right, they're not wrong. But before you start to do your little whatevers, it's like, what does that mean to you? Because the funniest one is I have to think about a thing is it's just like, well, for most people, first of all, there is no thought. There is no thought process really. It's like, I feel nervous and because I feel nervous, I'm going to say this thing and I don't even know why I'm saying it. I have to think about it. I don't even know what's going on. It's a complete circus. It's a clown show. They literally, that's how I think about it.
It's a sobering question.
Yeah.
Honestly.
What do you mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because that's kind of like maybe like sums up like what I want to say is like your way of, it's a very sober.
Yeah.
You help people, or like you ask questions in a way that sobers their mind.
Yes. Reality. That's a great way of putting it. It's more just like, it is because I was filming the shorts. It's like, I say like, curious questions is really the only way, or the biggest way to bring someone to reality or to sobriety. Because what's sobriety or reality? It's all kind of the same thing, right? Because not being an illusion, if you're hammered, you can see the world in some weird fuzzy way. It's not really real, like the lamppost isn't actually fuzzy, So, and it's through asking curious questions, sharing how you feel, and also informing them of certain things. Like for you, right? Like you mentioned that story of the guy who like super successful. He has all these medical issues, blood pressure issues. It's like, dude, like, you could literally die. But if you say that from an energy of like, you should buy my thing, it's more like, hey, but bro, like I say have just so energy. Okay, dude, like you could die. Like imagine your daughter getting married and you're not, what do you think she's thinking? She's getting married. You don't think she might like her father to be there? And what do you think she's going to, yeah, I mean, he just couldn't stop eating. Mm. And again, that's the thing. It goes back to one of the first things that I said on this interview here was like, but I guess, are you not supposed to say that? I don't know. I don't know another way of talking.
I mean, because it's so real, it's so authentic to you, and that's kind of like how you're wired. Maybe that makes me think if that's the way you've been, like that's your thinking, and that's why you're creating content, why it resonates so good with the channel that you've had. Because in a moment like that, obviously, it's very difficult for somebody to answer sobering questions face to face with a person, because it's easy like to like just like and then walk away, but like avoid the question and just like have like a pushback.
Yes, you're totally right, but you're 100% right. There's one key thing. It's difficult only when you could say, to use your words, sobering energy. It's actually easy to walk away if you feel like the person's being aggressive and trying to like, oh, he just wasn't asking me. And maybe the funny thing is some people do ask these questions from the energy of like trying to get, it's like, all right, go away. That's not easy. It is easy to walk away from that. But if you actually have the energy, dude, you might not be at your daughter's wedding. And just, that's difficult to walk away from. And what it does, oh my God, I love this stuff. What it does is the person receiving it won't actually know what's happening in a way, because they're used to, maybe someone said it to them, but they're used to kind of like writing it off, but something feels different with this guy. And people will label that as, oh, he's being authentic, but whatever you want to call it. But what you're actually doing is you're creating, when you ask it from curious energy, you're opening up a space for them to think. Because when you do this, they don't have space. It's like being strangled. You can't think properly. But it's like, if you just say it, you're just kind of left with yourself. Mm-hmm. Sobriety. That's the key.
Yeah. And I guess also like, obviously it depends on someone's intention. Like if somebody has, what do you call it? Like commission breath. Commission breath, or you don't feel like it's authentic to them. But that's like where it's like fascinating where you come from, because you come from such a detached position.
Yeah.
And the question that you're asking is like very genuine.
You could say I'm attached to reality. Like there's only like people talk about framing, right? Mm-hmm. On sales calls. There's only one frame, and it's the reality frame. Mm-hmm. Reality is like, and I call it just so you know. Okay, just so you know, like you might die. It depends on why they want to look the way they want to look. I don't know. It's like, okay, well, what are some things that people say when you say, why do you want to look like that? Just basic stuff.
I want to be able to do adventures with my kids and not be the tired dad.
Yeah, it's crazy to me. Like as a bit of I'm going to let my own personal bias slip in. It is wild to me how people are like, dude, you can't even walk up a mountain with your kid, and well, I don't know if it's worth it. Like, I don't know. I mean, there's almost maybe a little bit, I don't want to say judgment, but it's like, okay, it's a weird, hard one for me to relate to, but it's just kind of like, yeah, I mean, because the reality frame would be like, okay, well, how much, because the thing is, reality will reveal itself. It's like, if someone says like, yeah, I don't want to be the tired dad. It's like, well, we'll see how much you don't want to be the tired dad. And you could actually go deeper, like, well, And why do you not want to be the tired dad? Well, I don't want to, because a lot of it is attached to a feeling as well. There's lots to unpack when it comes to the why. Like, okay, but like, so what does it feel like being the tired dad? Which is a question that I tell my clients to talk like this. No one does until they join my program. But it's like, well, why do you want to be the tired dad? Or why do you not want to be the tired dad? Which is a question they haven't really thought about. They're like, well, I want to be able to walk up the mountain. Yeah, but like, why? Oh, I can spend time with my kid. Well, why do you want to spend time with your kid? It's kind of like, well, it's like, I don't like, what do they even say? Like, well, I'm a father. I really want to do that. Or like, I don't know, maybe like I want to feel like I'm like a failure or something. I don't know. I don't know what they'd say, but it's just kind of like, but you want to get that deep because you're actually making them conscious of their own motivations too. That's why I don't really do like sales calls. I hate when people say that though. Everyone's like, I don't do sales calls. It's like, well, I just do like, it's like consciousness calls, reality calls, because I have the reality frame, so, and yeah, then it's like, well, is that really not worth X to you? Like, so being a good dad, like how much do you even really want to be a good dad? If you made X amount of money this year, you're not willing to spend X amount of money on this thing. Like, are you sure you even really want this? And again, the key thing is I would never guilt someone into like not wanting to be a good dad, but I'm not going to let them pretend that they really want it when they're not willing to spend 1/100th of their salary on a thing. It's just stupid. Why not spend half your yearly salary on this thing? Oh, that's crazy. Oh, is it? It's crazy. It's crazy wanting to prioritize being a good dad that much. Well, maybe for you, it's crazy. There's other people, it's not crazy.
What I think, because like, I mean, we're talking in that particular, like, or some men, especially if somebody's, like in a good position, they work themselves off, high career, there's ego involved. And if you have what I think, a high ego, or the personality type, maybe also easy to numb feelings because that was maybe also part of their success.
Oh yeah.
Right.
Well, I can relate to that. Yeah.
So when you're numbing things and then like you're getting again into a situation that is uncomfortable, like you're pressing it down again. And when you would actually have like a very good question that would serve them in a good way, it's being suppressed. Right. Although it would, if they're like face the hard truth, be the thing that they needed to hear to actually get the change that they want to have in their life.
Yeah. Yeah. But I mean, that's a great point, especially with men. You're right. Like, there's nothing masculine or cool about living on your own made up planet where up is down and carrots are cookies or something. I don't know. Like, it's like, well, it's just like masculinity. For me, reality and masculinity are pretty connected. Like femininity, let's say, isn't necessarily conducive to like reality, although I'm overgeneralizing a lot, but you know what I mean? It's just like, okay, well, I can promise you the most masculine thing is not being weirdly delusional about things. Just to be clear, but yeah, I don't know. I mean, that's interesting. Like, yeah, I mean, ego's everywhere. It's just kind of like, yeah, I don't know. It's just like, for me, I don't get that. Like, I mean, like I get ego. It's more like, but ego more is like how you see yourself. It's like an identification with something or an image. Like I identify as myself as someone who is not scared to invest, for example. However, I am scared to invest, but I tell myself a story to reinforce an identity. That's kind of how ego works, like telling yourself these stories, right? But it's more about like, well, what do you care more about? Like a story or getting the thing that you want to get? Like, it's just kind of like I mean, some people never come to that breaking point, and that's why they die with regret. Or they take that story to the grave, which is...
Exactly. But I think like you're saying a nice point there because like you're like in my reality and everything, but not everybody thinks like that.
Yeah.
It's a crazy thing,
I know.
Yeah. Because sometimes it's easier to push things down because it serves your cognitive dissonance.
Correct. Yeah.
And you don't have to admit that there's a problem.
Which is ego. It's just like, it's really just like the ego in a way is, I mean, bro, I've paid like 40 grand a year for this kind of coaching for like 5 years. Constantine. I think I told you about that guy, but yeah, it's just ego. The ego just wants to preserve and survive. Okay. So some people, if they are honest with themselves, it literally feels like death. This is like ayahuasca in real time. It's kind of like, oh, like if I like cheat on my partner and it happened, I can't tell myself a story that I cheated. I'm not a cheater because you did. And like some people have these really sobering, I like that word sobering, these sobering moments like, oh man, I can't. But dude, it's crazy. But some people, dude, the cognitive dissonance is a fascinating topic. And I will say, we all have a version of that. Some people, it's like really extreme. Some people, it's like, but we all have a version of that usually. And, so just be honest with yourself. Don't be a guy like, oh, I have zero of that. It's like, all right, well, I guess you're Jesus Christ, eh? Turn the water into wine, bro. Waiting for that too. If you can do that.
Holy mother.
Yeah.
It's because the position or the ways that I'm exposed most to this is like often, obviously, like I got also people talking to me, consultations, want to talk about my program, like how it could potentially help them. And it's sometimes like really hurtful for me also to see that, like, okay, look, like high blood pressure, your blood lipid panel is like completely out. Like your doctor's like totally downplaying it. Like your blood levels, like this is not normal. This is not healthy. This is going to take years off your life. And then just to like fit some sort of narrative or like idea in their mind, they're going to be, it's not that important.
Yeah. Something you can do is, like whenever I do my calls, I like to give disclaimers. I'll be like, I literally say this. I'll say, hey, I talk in kind of a funny way. I talk in a way that's directly for you, but I also talk in kind of like a generality way, or I'm going to say things that are common patterns. So for example, let's say you're at a moment in your call where you're about to inform them of something. Before you inform them, you could be like, hey, by the way, I just like to name something. I'm not saying you're going to do this or you are doing this. I just, like I said, I speak in kind of a funny way. Like, so it's very common whenever I actually inform the person what this means, having the word blood lipid panel, what this means, what this means, what this means. It's very common for people to tell themselves an outrageous, egregious lie that it doesn't matter that much. And the thing is, you can tell yourself whatever you want. You can tell yourself the sky is purple. You can tell yourself whatever you want to tell yourself. I'm not, and like, I don't do it in like a past. I'm like, I don't know, you could, sure. But it's like, I wouldn't recommend it. I try my best not to do this myself, but I just like to name that before I say what I'm going to say. Make sense? Who talks like that? It's very like, I mean, dude, I'm just telling you, the energy in the room changes, or on a Zoom call, whatever. It's just kind of, okay.
It's real talk.
Well, you're just calling, because, and like the coolest thing about the more calls you take, you'll just see the patterns. So it's like, okay, well, this, and I literally talk like this. I'd be like, yeah, so, before I talk about the price, I just want to name something that, like, a lot of people, when they hear the price, magically their priorities change. When in reality, the price has nothing to do with what you want in your life. But I just like to name that before I talk about this. Does that make sense? Do you think that's something you're going to do? Dude, what a bizarre question. They're like, dude, no, I guarantee no one has ever been asked that question before. And I don't know why. I really don't. I don't know why they don't talk like this.
Yeah. I mean, it's like kind of like addressing the obvious.
You're addressing it's the reality frame. Like, well, that's just what happens.
Yeah.
And you can say, I don't know if you're going to do this. I hope not. But I am just saying the reality is a lot of people do this.
Addressing the unspoken obvious and like kind of bracing maybe too.
It's more, well, it's very difficult to fall into the trap when you name the trap. It's really difficult to like, okay, actually my priorities have changed, even though I just said they're not going to change when I hear the price. It's just, it just feels tough. It's like, I can't really say that. Like, Yeah.
That's good because like, yeah, it just made me think like in a situation, because it kind of like because I'm trying to think like, obviously we're talking now like in an example of a sales call or consultation call or whatever.
It's all the same thing.
But I mean, like you can apply that to
anything.
Like if you need to have like these hard, sobering conversations, kind of like bracing it a little bit. It's
also about not judging too, like yourself. It's about like, like I always say, like, it's okay to have fear. It's not, we're all human. I have fears. It's it's more just like, well, look, man, like, and the other thing too, as I always say to people, it's kind of like, you can just share how you feel too. It's like, well, look, man, like, look, I'm not it's your life, man. Like, I don't know. Like if it's more just like, and I literally say this to people, I say, look, it's one of my main purposes in life to, I'm not saying I'm perfect, try my very best to align the person with reality as objectively as possible. So what that means is if I feel like you say something that I don't think is true, I'm going to share it with you. And you could also say, is that okay if I just share how I feel? And most people are like, I guess, but okay. And I'm not trying to be weird. I'm just sharing how I feel. And just because I feel something doesn't make it true, but I'm just posing you the question. But again, most people I don't know why they don't talk like this. They're so lost in whatever, this weird sales. Makes you rethink sales as a whole sort of too, I think. A lot of people are like, they're like, wow, this is a very different. I don't know what you call this. I'm like, reality. I don't know. Yeah. That's how I do it.
Sobering.
I like that word too. Sobering.
Very sobering. Very sobering. Mitch, where can people find out more about you?
I guess right now, like, you can just if this is on YouTube, I guess, just go to YouTube and type in Mitch Wiggins business. And who knows what'll be up there when you see it, but I don't know. There's some shorts up there right now. So yeah.
At the time.
Yeah, brother.
Also Mitch Manly.
Oh yeah.
If you haven't seen that yet, definitely very interesting to check out. And if somebody wants to explore more about your offer and potentially scaling,
whatever, just find me. If you want to find me, you'll find me. You know what I mean? Christ, I don't know.
Search for it.
Yeah, search for it.
Mitch, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you for having me, bro. It was fun.
Sweet.
That's it.